This is my very first interaction with Mittens, meeting her for the first time. I could see the intensity and the posture right away. You could also tell, or at least I got the vibe, that this dog had never been taught a different way to cope. So without being able to sit down and talk to the owner, the first thing I wanted to do was see this dog out on the walk. As we waited for the elevator, it was such a difficult task for Mittens to relax. So what I asked was for us to miss the first elevator and actually put the dog through this situation. Because I could tell right away that the dog had never been in a situation long enough for them to learn a different way to cope. They've always been pulled or restrained away. Just as I anticipated, the dog started going through the shakes. Now, for most people, seeing this is when emotion kicks in and they feel bad for the dog. But this is exactly what she needed to go through in order to see that, wow, I can behave another way in these situations. So the shakes is a natural part of the brain telling the body not to attack and not do what the body is used to doing, almost muscle memory. At this point, I had a pretty good idea of what we were dealing with, but to make sure, I needed to see the walk. So I decided to sit back, not give any direction, and if anything, serve as a bit of a distraction in order to see what Aurelis went through every time she walked Mittens. And this clip gives us a pretty good idea of what the walk was like. About 10 minutes in, the walk wasn't perfect, but Mittens mellowed out a lot more. So this is an opportunity to show you when correction should be made on this type of walk. The purpose of the walk, keep the head forward, not allowing them to fixate or focus on anything else but you and where you're going. Correction should be made there. It was on her own. Again, right there with the head turned to the right. Here it comes. Right there, it should have been made. Allowing them to fixate on their own without your permission confuses them on how the walk should be, often leading into leash pulling, lunging, and other unwanted behaviors, both during the walk and in other areas. Keep in mind that making a correction is just communication. It's giving a dog direction. The sooner you catch it, the less intense it has to be. I mean, take a look here as I make my corrections. To the average eye, this would go undetected, but it's because I catch it right away, it becomes a 1, 2, 3 thing where it ends. I don't let it linger and I don't let it escalate. This is why dogs behave around me. I earn their trust. I see what they see, and I take on the responsibility, allowing them to relax and just trust and follow me. Only once the rules are in place and ingrained in their brain can you rely on them to make the correct choices on their own. Here we have a dog going crazy across the street. I didn't need to correct that once.
Girl, come on, girl.
I taught her how to do it, and then she started doing it on her own. Now that Mittens was making the correct choices on her own, it was time to kick it up a notch. This is where my sidekick Soko comes into play. Coming up, you can see my wife walking by. My goal was just to have Mittens not fixate or focus. That's the correction right there, because she was gonna try and turn around. Just to let her know, hey, look, you still have to follow me. The rules apply even when you face your distractions. So we have 4 stages: fight, flight, avoidance, and surrender, or submission, depending on what you want to call it. My goal is to get rid of fight, avoid or disagree with the flight for this situation. I'll allow avoidance. As long as you're following the rules and complying with me, you can avoid, because it's a step in the right direction. It's almost a systematic approach, systematically getting to where I want to be. Once the brain is submissive and in that state, I can allow for walking on the same side. I can allow myself to trust her a little bit more, because now she walks with Soko as a unit instead of thinking that it might be playtime or fight time, because she knows that she has to follow the rules. So we all partake in this activity together. How is she with kids?
I'm so excited. She jumps on them.
Okay.
You want to take Soko?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, shoot.
So we decided to introduce the kids because it came into play. But this is not something that I rush into before implementing the rule, before getting her to realize that there's another way to act, another way to cope. Once that's in play, once that's set, this is easy. Now it's a matter of teaching her that she can act that way in this situation as well. And that has to do with respecting space, allowing space, and following the rules regardless of what you come across. Here we're walking by tons of people, tons of activity, children in the playground, people playing handball, people playing racquetball, basketball, football, loud music, and she's making good choices. Aurelis, the owner, makes a beautiful decision right there, leading us into how you can talk to your dog without verbally speaking to them. Mittens is willing to follow when your body language and energy matches what you want to accomplish. So the rest of this walk is just a confidence builder, a confidence booster, showing her, look, you're doing this on your own. Now it's a matter of maintaining this. But prior, it made no sense to ask for this when the dog never knew how to do it. So, I mean, the rest of this clip pretty much says it all. You can see there's no tension on the leash. Nice and relaxed. We're just conversing here, going over a couple more tips that I'm afraid I can't give on video without having to charge you guys. But at this point here, I'm just showing, listen, you know, you have an opportunity to keep her going and not put up with things like that, especially if they're for no reason. So there's always a test. You're always being tested, and your dog is always going to tell you what your imperfections are and what you're doing wrong. So it's a matter of you being open to your imperfections and embracing that in order to learn and better yourself from it. So for some reason, although we built Aurelis's confidence, she still had a thing with walking by pit bulls or bully breeds and smaller dogs. So we were determined, and I was determined, to stumble across them. Our local park had some dogs, and I made her go back and forth until you see that smile where she actually says, oh my gosh, made her do it over and over again. We end up bumping into her neighbor, who has a small dog and knows Mittens and her reputation, coming up here.
All right, this is perfect. She just needs to be able to see.
Hey, look at that. Yeah, I know. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. All right. I'm proud of you.
Tell us in the camera how she normally is.
Oh my God. You don't want to be in the elevator with her. No. You don't want to be near her. If she comes out, we have to wait until she comes out and let her go in with him. For real. When he come in the hallway, I knock on the door next door. Yeah. But oh, this is so awesome. Well, I'm proud of you. I gotta get you something. I'm going to the store. What do you want? That's wonderful. I'm glad, because the babies. That's what I was worried about. The babies coming.
Well, that's what we wanted. We want to make sure that she's gonna be ready for the baby.
Well, it's wonderful what you guys doing.
Thank you very much. Thank
She
you.
likes it, you know, it gives her a job. And now she hasn't done anything wrong, so you still want to put her in her place.
Come here, please.
Good girl. And this is positive. 5 minutes in, Mittens grasps the concept of place. But maintaining this through this distraction is where the error occurs.
You always have to be, see,
My dog first.
you're forgetting about her. She's being great.
I feel confident to like walk her in the daytime now. That's what now in the morning I'm going to walk her because I just saw that I could do it. I saw that you could do it, and that gave me hope. But that I could do it, I mean, that was awesome. Like, that's all I needed.
Nice.
So now I could practice in the morning.
So now the baby.
Yeah.
All right?
What we did was pick up a baby that cries, laughs, moves, and we wiped some baby wipes and other familiar scents on the baby so that it could be as close to the real thing as possible. With this, we applied what Mittens already knew, which was sit stays and down stays, just general respecting space. And she did an amazing job. We tested her in as many ways as possible, had the baby moving, had the baby crawling on the floor. Right here is a correction when she got a little carried away and excited when we started inviting her in closer. So it's just a little reminder to let her know, hey, don't forget about the rules, don't forget about being concerned and considering us. Coming up, we achieved a submissive state, so we invited her in. She was calm, respectful, and it allowed for this type of relaxed, respectful behavior.
But what was important for her to get to this point was what we didn't catch on camera, unfortunately. When you first came, she saw you had something. She saw you had something in her hand.
Yeah.
In your hand, and she was like, you know, what is that? And right away, hey, no. And she's like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. And now she just knows.
Because we practiced it a lot, but I never caught that before.
That's all it is. You just need to see it. You just need to be able to see that. Doesn't mean she can't be around you, but you need to ask for space and just respect. This is calm, and now she can experience, you know, this. That's it. This is job done. This is all you need to do. This is all you need to know. You have all the tools. The dog's not perfect, but if you do this, you'll never have a dog being bad. She can't be in charge. She doesn't want to be in charge, but she's at that point where she is. She's just, you know, she's so tense. That's why, you know, when she finally, instead of just being relaxed in the beginning, she's like, you know, like shaking, but now she's finally It's just, oh, hey, I get to be a dog, and look, she gets to just play. You know what I mean? When she
wants
opens
to
her
be
mouth,
a
I don't
dog.
fear it because I know she's in a different state.